build up the courage almost to kick it.
Right.
And I've watched Mark Percival plenty this season. I've never seen him rock back and forward on his legs quite as long and as many times and as much as he was doing for that particular goal kick. Yeah. And it missed quite badly. And I'd have pulled him off him at that stage.
Yeah.
When he scored his own try, maybe you thought he's got his confidence back, so let him keep kicking. But I wouldn't have had him kicking that conversion. I'd have taken him off him. They had, Makinson,
Smith can kick
Smith.
goals.
They had other options that they could have given a go. Because for me,
Jesus, can John Wilkin not kick a goal?
I don't know that. Well, maybe no better than Percival's nervous efforts, but he might have had a bit. But for me, Percival was so obviously racked with goal-kicking nerves. Not game-playing nerves. Yeah. In the heat of the game, attacking.
Fine.
We know how great he is attacking.
Yeah.
He makes a lot of errors and he's not necessarily the best defender yet. But we know how great he is attacking. And he scored a try. I just think that goal kick, that nerve, that edge, he'll learn and grow from this. It was a bit harsh getting the cameras in front of his face and interview him about it after the game.
Jesus.
But that's all character building. And I hope that he learns well from it. But that was significant. And then what did they say on the radio then about the penalty?
Well, they were arguing amongst themselves, really. What did you think?
Well, Ryan Morgan clearly stopped Michael Shenton from getting any chance to put pressure on Ben Barber. He was never going to get to the ball before Ben Barber.
No.
But that doesn't mean what Ryan Morgan did when the ball was still actively in play, not in Ben Barber's hands, was not influencing the chase. So I think it's the correct call. I think it was so blatant. I think that's the thing. If Morgan had just sort of leant across him, would have been different. But he leant across him, then put his arms around him, and it was probably Shenton's most positive contribution in the whole game for the Castleford effort.
Wow, look, what a time for it to come, though.
But it was the right call. It was a penalty.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't necessarily want to see quote-unquote soft calls like that being made in big games, but I want to see right calls being made in big games. And Justin Holbrook came out with his classic fucking blame the ref kind of sly little floaty dig into his after the match interview. He's by far the most criminally refs faulting coach in Super League right now. I've never seen them lose a game whilst he's been in charge where he's not blamed the referee, but he should be pulling up his player for that. It's absolutely.
Well, his player will be pulling himself up, won't he?
But it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous. There was still, when the penalty was given, there was still a minute to play. So you never know. Some sort of error could have been forced, but it was very unlikely at that stage. Then when he went to golden point extra time, what were you thinking?
Oh, it was written. It was written in the stars. At that point, I think I even recall saying out loud, Gale drop goal. This is only going to end one way for me. When
he missed his first opportunity, I just thought Smith ain't going to miss one. But Smith's was terrible.
Yeah, I hadn't considered that. To be honest, when I was making that state, I hadn't considered Matty Smith either at that point. I just thought...
Because if you gave me any player in Super League to
you'd take Matty Smith for a drop goal. Yeah.
I'd take Matty Smith. His drop goal against Salford this year, his drop goal for Wigan against Salford last year, his drop goal for Wigan against Hull last year. Yeah. So many of his drop goals for Wigan.
Yeah.
I would have taken Matty Smith. I can't believe how poor his effort was.
Right.
And then after that, it was going to be on that short pitch. You can't give that extra play away, can you?
Anything away on that length of pitch. And it goes to Luke Gale.
Absolutely thrilling stuff.
It really was.
I enjoyed it from minute 1 to whenever Saints took the lead.
I felt a bit like I was playing along with him because of the amount of lifting and carrying and like uffing and puffing I was doing. It was quite good fun to have on in my ears. Look, Saints scored more tries and could arguably make a case for deserving to be in the grand final, but I think if St Helens got to the grand final, that would have been one of the worst possible teams to have made it there based on a season. They scraped into the top 4, having turned it around. Let's not forget that for a big portion of this season, they were playing way below their potential. Holbrook has come in and got them playing a bit better rugby league. They've made some additions to the squad, but it would have been a travesty if Castleford hadn't found a way to win this one, and that's what they did. They found a way to win.
I think on this game, Castleford had as many players who played really well. Gale and
Milner,
McShane, McMeekin and Webster were outstanding for me. But
yeah.
Meakin in particular was huge in this game, I felt. Every time they needed a run that got them out of their own end, Meakin had that run, had that offload maybe as well to find someone else to get a few more metres as well. And Webster and McMeekin were so on the same page in this game that I thought that combination was huge. But Saints probably were better for longer as an overall team and probably had fewer players who underperformed.
Yeah,
I'd certainly say that. And they were unlucky, but goal kicking is an important factor of rugby league. As Wigan know from this season how many goal kicks they've missed. That if they'd have scored them, they might have been in a, Wigan might have been in a different circumstance. So speaking from how many have been missed this year, it's crucial. Of
course it is.
And it's a big part of the game. And if you're falling down so dramatically on a big part of the game, you are where you are.
That's going to cost you. That's it. Absolutely.
Well done to Cass turning it around in that last couple of minutes.
Bravo. And hopefully that will stand them in good stead.
They certainly can't be called chokers after that, I don't feel. No. There was an element of nervousness in the performance. More an element of... There was a little bit of reluctance at times to play it, and then other times that Ben Roberts did play it all the time and made a lot of ground, but made a lot of errors.
I think in some respects,
so he got his balls up game out of the way. I don't think anyone else necessarily ballsed it up. I think Powell has been given a nod to what his selection needs to be next week as well, from how the game ended rather than how the game started. So yeah.
Do you think, in some respects, for Castleford, there's more pressure in the semi-final than there is in the final?
Yes.
That's the thing, isn't it? Now they've got there. If they hadn't got there, it would have been the criminal thing based on how dominant they've been this season. But they've got there now, so they can relax again. They've got to where they need to be, and they have a one-off game to win the Super League.
Yeah.
So I think the pressure is far greater in this than in some respects it will be on Saturday when they face off against. Well, let's not say.
Well, they're also in a much better position as a side than when they played a Challenge Cup final against the team that we're not naming yet for some reason.
For some reason, I don't know why I'm trying to build suspense into this podcast, but there you go. Well, what did the stats tell us, Mark?
Well, stats would have had Saints marginally winning this one. It was 7-6 in clean breaks in their favour. 182 more metres, an imposing 1.2 metres per carry better average gain, and with 2.3% better team tackle success as well. And, as well as that, conceding 3 fewer penalties. Cass were much more freely offloading, so that nervousness aspect, well, at times, it wasn't on show at all.
Yeah.
18 offloads to 6. And they also made fewer errors. 10 compared to 12 by Saints. So in both areas that helped them, but kicking helped them the most. They were 100% 5 for 5 for Cass, 20% 1 of 5 for Saints.
There you go. Individually, who stood out for us?
Zach Hardacre with a try early doors and 110 metres. Ben Roberts, for all the errors he made, 144 metres and 3 successful offloads, showed he still had a positive impact. Greg Minikin 114 metres, Mike McMeekin 108 metres, 5 successful offloads, and Junior Moore's 106 metres.
Okay, it was a close one though. So who stood out for St Helens?
Well, Tommy Makinson got his try, finished that well. 138 metres too. Alex Walmsley 5 tackle busts, 136 metres. James Roby 2 try assists, 57 tackles, 11 of which were marker tackles, 128 metres. He's the greatest Super League player we've ever seen. Ben Barber, 3 try assists, 9 tackle busts, 126 metres, 2 clean breaks. Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook, 118 metres.
There you go. Okay, so to Friday night then, down at Headingley, and it finished Leeds 18, Hull FC 16. The Rhinos hanging on to make it into the grand final in front of 12,500, refereed by Phil Bentham.
What an eerie 12,500 it was with the sort of eternal view into the houses. Mitchell Darts says...
I bet the people who live in the houses are loving it though. Bit of free rugby league.
I didn't see a lot of them with the lights on watching, so I don't know what's going on.
I remember walking past the away. I remember times walking down the away end at Headingley and seeing people out on the roofs in those houses immediately behind it, and stuff like that. Not anymore. Gone are the days.
Mitchell Darts, we start with. He said, Leeds fan from down under says, bit surreal right now. The turnaround from last year's disaster of a season and being in the middle eights to even after the disaster of round 3 versus Cass, I couldn't imagine we'd be heading into a grand final. It's going to take a monumental effort to overcome Castleford, who showed how truly great they are. It's going to be one hell of a grand final.
Rich Langley said, can't argue with the top 2 being in the final, but disappointed Hull didn't turn up to play until they were behind the 8 ball. Here's to 2018. It's going to be our year. Black and white hoops.
Don't want to start sounding like Warrington, does he? Joshua's granddad John says, Gareth Ellis, what a performer, didn't deserve to bow out a loser, but no complaints about the result. You can't give Leeds 25 minutes and 12 points start. Unfortunately, too many below par performances. Leeds totally nullified the Hull front three, denying Sneyd and Kelly the platform. Still, not a bad season on reflection. Bring on 2018.
Tyler Cass fans said Hull started slowly and took too long to get up to speed. Leeds refused to be dominated in the pack and managed the game well. Fully deserved to win. Bring it on.
Paul O'Brien said another good semi-final. Leeds just that bit better than Hull. Leeds showing they just have that edge when it comes to the big games. I am seeing them beating Castleford next week.
There you go. Sarah McKenzie says Hull missed the memo that games were kicking off earlier, and by the time they started playing it was 12-0. The bet team won. We didn't have enough ball to win. There was a brief moment where I thought we might do it, but it was only a flickering flame at the end of a tunnel. Gutted that Gaz, Mahe and Michaels missed out on a swan song at Old Trafford, but bring on 2018.
Cutthroat Jake said, now then lads, that was a great result for Leeds, only tarnished by the injury to Stevie Ward. Yeah, he's ruled out of the grand final. Hull were attitudinally up for the game, but couldn't quite overcome the Rhinos, who were attitudinally better. It's a shame Ellis couldn't go out at a grand final, but Burrow and Maguire are just as deserving to go out as grand final winners.
Cutthroat Jack, sorry, Dom Hodgson says, really a weird one for me. I spent the match in the wonderful company of the Scoots clan and a bunch of passionate, brackets loud, Hull FC, who pointed out every possible mistake or thing that the ref missed. With the groupthink of Hull FC crowd by the end of the match, I'd become convinced that we didn't deserve to win. But then I got home and watched it on Sky, and fuck 'em, grand final, baby.
Paul Ludo Lewis said, an okay game, but maybe it was the missing stand, but I just didn't feel like a semi-final. Retiring Gareth Ellis must go down as one of the best players to never win Man of Steel, although, like Zach Hardacre, he has made the dream team.
Very good.
So it's down to Leeds to stop Cass. That must make every neutral Cass fan, let's hope on Saturday evening Fatboy Rob is flooding our timelines without a focused selfies and crying emojis.
Wouldn't it be great if we were a set of pricks and changed the password on it? Right ahead of
we are going to put a new password for Instagram, but we'll roll it out to anyone who tells us they're going to go to the grand final.
I think they should just be able to get it off us at the
meet up.
Yeah, you only get the password if you come and see us.
Right, well Rob will be too busy getting pissed with about 30 other people, so... So you might get a pass on the meeting.
We might make exceptions. Okay, where were we up to? Bernard JKD, whoever organised the bus travel plans at Hull FC, really needs to be considered for demotion. Just dire stuff by Hull FC. Shaw not caring to cover the try line for Ward's try early. He may as well have worn a I Hate Wayne Bennett t-shirt. There is also a nightmare team that Fanua can play with. Hashtag back to his usual form.
And we finish with Rich Wilkinson, who says, now then lads, a tough, tense game from start to finish. Leeds have raised their game week on week. We deserve the win. It feels good to be back in the grand final. Obviously gutted for Stevie Ward. Rhinos are massive underdogs, just making up the numbers. Cass have the open top bus booked already, and banjos have been restrung for the post-match celebrations. What could possibly go wrong? Richard, if you don't believe that Leeds have already booked an open top bus too, just in case, then you are
kidding yourself. Yes, absolutely. Problem is, there's only one bus hire company in Castleford, so it will become obvious that that's the one they're using.
Oh, I thought they were going to go to Diggerland and get
them out on that. Yeah, bloody hell. I think they should bring the relegation team in as well to go along on the bus with them. Right, so Leeds. The turnaround at Leeds Rhinos is massive, and the arc of this whole story for this whole year ends brilliantly for Brian McDermott, particularly after that defeat to Cass early in the season. Was it the 66-10 one where he said that they could still make the grand final, and he was roundly snorted at with derision.
Yeah.
But here they are in the grand final, Mark, and they deserve the win. They deserve to get there. They are certainly the second best team in the competition.
I think they were the better team in this game as well.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think...
Bit of a wobble after half time. But...
There was that issue at the start. I mean, Stevie Ward's try was great from Stevie Ward's perspective and what he did.
Yeah.
But it wasn't exactly... like it couldn't have been stopped, let's face it.
True.
But what an offload by Maguire for the Mullally try.
Yeah.
And at that point, Leeds were
pretty much cruising,
completely dominant. Then Hull... probably for the first time in the game, got some possession up the other end.
Yeah, I think it's over through the middle then.
Well, that's probably how they got there. And they scored a try through the middle with Gareth.